Hello and welcome to another episode of the Out of Spec podcast. We're actually doing this one in person. Who knows if it will ever go up online or not, but it is the first show that we're doing at the Hub, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So also who is here is my dad visiting. So hello, Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well, and appreciate you coming all the way out here. Although we'll talk about why you're here, which is mostly to grab your new Porsche Macan electric. So we'll get into all of that.
Yep.
And Taycan joins us, and we've got the very early workings of empty podcast studio that actually will get built out tomorrow. But this is sort of a test run of how do things sound, what do we need to adjust, where do we need sound deadening,
right,
all that good stuff. So in the comments, let us know what you think. How do we sound? Do we sound good or bad? I'm sure we will find out soon.
So Kyle, I want to know, who's the first guest? Is it Taycan or is it me?
It's you.
It's you.
Okay, good.
The news today. Do you want to share your news today?
Yeah, I am back as a out-of-spec full-time employee.
I didn't even know that.
He didn't either till 2 hours ago.
Taycan just told me. I mean, he told me he's working here full-time.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So that 2-hour commute, that's not going to be an excuse for coming up here, is it?
No, it'll be fine. We'll work something out.
Yeah.
We'll probably move back up here anyways.
That's
Lexi
great.
likes it up here too more, and Alyssa's here, so it's easier with our new puppy as well.
Good.
Okay, so that's the big news of the podcast. So thanks so much for watching. Okay, so Dad's been here. He's been driving a bunch of our cars, a bunch of other stuff. If you hear some dogs in the background, we've learned no more dogs when podcasts are happening.
Yep.
Or we just have to put them in a different unit or something. They need to be out of here. And so, Dad, you came here to drive your Macan. We'll get into that in a little minute. But today you've driven some other stuff. So you arrived at the airport, and Danny actually left the Model S there for you. So how'd that go? What was that like? What was your impression?
Yeah, well, first of all, that place where you park your cars, Fine Parking, that's pretty sweet. That thing's nice. It was hard to find.
Fine Parking is not sponsored, but should be. They said they were going to sponsor us.
I mean, that's like the real deal place, and they got a lot of vans and really nice. Yeah. So how did I like it? Was getting back in a Model S, and first thing I noticed was the size of the backup camera, just massive, right? Because I've been driving the Model 3 and the Model Y, and it was amazing how big that is. It's funny how you forget things. The seats in your car, very comfortable. I thought it rode really well. Now it's got some noises. I don't know where those came from.
Yeah, Taycan, what's going on with those noises?
Well, we can blame it on one person and one person only, and that would be Jordan Schieffer for binning it into a curve.
That's right. Jordan ruined this car from day one.
Yeah. I was the one who got the phone call because he was afraid to call you, and I happened to be here that weekend. And
let's just preface this: we love Jordan, no issue, all good.
Yeah, no, all good. But the car doesn't drive how it's supposed to.
Feel free to share your story about how Jordan crashed my car, Dad.
My story was I was having a very nice, peaceful evening, editing some videos, and all of a sudden the phone rang, and it's like, Dave, I crashed the car. I go, are you okay? First of all, are you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just scared. And I said, Kyle's not answering my phone calls. and I said, okay, well, how bad is it? He goes, it's not drivable. Okay. You know, and when you hear that, I've heard this multiple times in my life from various people, including my daughter a number of times. And, you know, it's kind of scary. But look, at the end of the day, he just didn't really know how to drive the car that fast, and also in an inappropriate place, and I think he learned his lesson. Now, I will say this though: the car drives very well. It feels very good. It's extremely fast. The stereo system is excellent, but I also just drove the Cybertruck and cranked up the stereo in that. Unbelievable.
Right, so you're comparing Tesla Model S Plaid, which is the car that Jordan put in a curb, which will, you know...
You want to keep talking about that. I was trying to, like, segue off of that.
Well,
I mean, to talk about what's wrong with it, we don't really know. So when it's cold, there's a weird motor vibration under the gas pedal.
And I don't know if it's done that from day one. This, like...
Yeah.
And it's but like other Plaid owners have complained about it. And my dad had a Model
Lemon
X.
law it.
Well, my dad had a Model X Plaid that would do it, but way less.
So it's just a Plaid thing.
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's just you have a 1,000 horsepower car, and that's the one vibration you deal with the first mile on a cold day.
Yeah, but you're hearing that in the front?
No, rear.
I definitely heard that in the rear in the X, without a doubt. As a matter of fact, I thought it was the half shaft, and it wasn't.
Right.
And it was when it was cold, it would go away.
Right. And I mean, Jordan really only broke suspension pieces. Cosmetically, the car was fine besides some scratches on the fender here and there.
It needed no paint.
Yep.
There is one tiny scratch on the bottom of a fender that I chose not to paint because they would have had to blend the whole side of the car.
And that was never going to work properly.
Well, it was, yeah. And so I thought, okay, well, let's not paint it. If we can just fix the original idea was, can we just pay out of pocket so it's not an insurance thing? Because it is literally just like curbing the car. It's not like a big accident or anything.
Right. It's not like
car was
smushed.
Yeah, no, the car's fine. There were no airbags, nothing like that. But it turned out to be, I don't know, $12,000 worth of damage, something like that. But then someone backed into the car when I was in Arizona, I think. I was in Phoenix at a hotel, and that required the car getting painted and blended.
Oh, I didn't even know that happened. That almost happened to me, too. I was in the In-N-Out line with your Plaid, and some guy almost backed into it.
Yeah, well, that car is just bad luck. I hate
yeah.
to say it, but knock on wood. I mean, it's time for that thing to go. I'm ready to sell it. You know what my plan is, though? Because it's lost...
Raffle.
No, not raffle.
Oh.
It's lost so much money. Because I just pulled up the window sticker, $140,000, which, in hindsight, that's a lot of money on a...
Wait, that was sticker without tax.
Yeah, so I'm into it for over $150,000.
Right.
So I think it was like, what, 156?
I don't know. I'm just going off 150. I don't want to know. And but it's not. It's worth. So Tesla just gave me a trade-in value of $46,000.
Timon, I keep getting, and he was like, "Yeah, I know." I keep getting friends of mine that send me pictures of him, like with my car. YouTuber has this car.
Yeah, some guy on TikTok grabs your videos as well, or from your Twitter, and makes videos about it. It's pretty interesting, and there's so many comments like, this is what Tesla gets, like the terrible cars.
Time was like, Kyle, you think you get a lot of those videos? Think about how many I get. So, but it is a statement about these expensive EVs, which you have to really be careful of because, the values of them have come down. Whose fault was that? In a lot of ways, Tesla's fault, right? Because they're the ones who started lowering the prices on these cars tremendously. It wasn't just the value of a car diminishing on its own, but there was a whole repricing that was set by Tesla. I have a buddy, Rob Laterra. Rob bought, and let's just call him frugal, and we love Rob. He bought the same Model Y that my wife currently drives for about $18,000 or $19,000 more 4 weeks before.
That's crazy.
She bought her.
And
Yeah,
that's why
he
you
got
buy
screwed.
used.
Yeah, well, okay, so my plan with the Model S, though, is they have this referral program. So I already have, I think, $5,000 worth of Tesla referral credits.
And then you're going to get another 10 on top of that.
As long as people buy S, X, or Cybertruck. If they use 3 and Y, then I think I get half the amount.
No, you still get 1,000. That's just the person that buys the car gets 1,000 or 2,000. But you still get 1,000.
Oh, so it's the same for me regardless.
Yep.
Okay, so I can get another 10, right?
Yep.
So the plan is that's 15 grand right there, and I'm just gonna bite the bullet and trade in the Plaid on something.
Model 3 Performance?
Probably. Don't know.
I mean, a Y is too ugly to have here.
It's just I don't see any other way that I can get out of that car now with these, with the referral thing. It's like, okay, the car depreciated a ton, so I'm using Tesla to my own advantage to say, okay, this is my exit strategy. Because if I sell it privately, it's not going to be worth 60 grand.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if someone's buying it that knows who you are and what the car is
Yeah.
through.
Some people are like, oh, I would rather have your car. I'm like, knowing it's mine loses its value.
Right, and then they have someone selling, in your standpoint, selling a used car to somebody that knows who you are could be a huge risk. Because then they could just come back to you and be like, this is the problem.
Yeah,
like,
you did
sold
this.
me this,
Oh.
blah, blah, blah.
That's why in our position, you just trade it to a dealer. Don't sell a car to a viewer. My dad disagrees. You think it's okay to sell cars to viewers.
Yeah, I absolutely do. Because, like, for example, Kathy's Model Y right now, I've already got one guy who wants it. He lives in Chicago. And a guy who's a backup. He lives in Ohio. And a third guy who's in Pittsburgh. And I know everything that's wrong with that car. The car's still under warranty. I've been fully disclosed as far as when Mom hit the pole on it, but that was a tiny little kiss compared to what Jordan did, right?
Yeah.
So like,
I feel like we're ragging on Jordan so much here. Sorry, Jordan.
Sorry, Jordan. Yeah.
We love Jordan.
But if he were here, he could
defend himself. He chose not to come up for Thanksgiving.
I came all the way out here, and he didn't even show up. So look, I don't have a problem selling a car that I believe in privately. But if you don't want the hassle, sure, just wholesale it. But you have to realize the cost of doing that.
Well, there's also a difference between your Y versus his Plaid. Two completely different stories, and two completely different cars too. To where even if I was in Kyle's boat, I still would probably just trade it in for something else. But if I had your Y, I would do the same thing. I'd sell it to a viewer or whoever. It'd be fine.
Well, I thought I had an exit strategy for the Plaid with Gary Rome.
On the Hyundai Ioniq 5N.
I was 1 second away from coming to an Ioniq 5N, and he was going to give me, they wanted us to do some videos, and we won't ever take money from an automaker, but a dealership is a private entity. I don't care if you want me to do a video promoting your dealer, as long as you'll take care of our viewers and you're reasonable. Like, we have some good relationships with our dealers here in town. So Gary wanted to do a thing with us, and I said, well, don't pay me anything. Just take me out of the Plaid and get me into a 5N at these numbers. And he was close to doing it, but he wasn't going to do it. It was his first 5N. Now that 5Ns, I think, are sitting on the lot for a little while, they might do it. But at this point, I'd rather just take the referral credit, give it back to Tesla, get something else that literally doesn't have the ability to depreciate as much as my Model S did. A whole Cybertruck of value fell out of the back of that Model S. That's $100,000 in 2 years. That's rough. I know cars depreciate, yes, but that's rough. Oh, we've lost a camera.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We will get it back.
Hold on.
It's coming back.
Sort of.
Yeah, you got to flip it, Dad.
I hear you.
Here we go.
How's that?
Yeah, so we know we got to do overhead lines.
Yeah.
it's in the work. It's actually happening tomorrow.
Apologies on that. By the way, one thing about this new referral program, Kyle, is that let's say you get $1,000 today, right? Somebody buys a car and takes delivery today. That $1,000 expires 12 months from the date you get it.
That's what I found out too. Is that your referral points? I've bought $600 worth of parts using referral to fix my Model 3. And they said you have exactly 1 year from when you get that referral to use the money that's there.
The money is different than the point systems.
Well, the points expire too, because I have...
I've noticed that too on his. You can check in the app if you're on his account. You can see, you have so many credits available, and it expires 3 months.
Yeah, April 25 on mine expire.
Were you able to use points for service on your car?
No, I don't have points. I have referral money.
Referral money. And you were able to use referral money for service.
You have to pay. You can't let them pay for you through your app or your account. You have to do it through your phone, and then you can click Apple Pay or whatever card you have.
Tesla wallet.
Yeah,
I
just did that the other day, and we have this new service center in Stamford, Connecticut, and I asked if I just had the wheels swapped from my from my standard 20-inch, the forged wheels that come on the Model 3 Performance to the Martians and the Nokians, and it was I just wanted Tesla to do it. They were also swapping out the seat had a little hard crinkle in it.
I remember that.
So I took it in there and I said, "Can I use my referral dollars to pay for that?" And they said no. And then I went online and paid for it using the referral credits or referral money.
Yeah, the manager there at the Littleton store said the same thing to me, that you can't use referral money for service. And I was like, I read through the terms and conditions.
Yeah, it literally says use it for service. And I know it works because here in Loveland, they're even letting me, if I choose to do this, I don't think I will, because I'm going to use it to get out of the Model S. And if it expires in a year, that's more reason to just get out of this car. But I was going to use it for my winter tires for the Cybertruck.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if you got into an accident and you took your car to Tesla to have them fix it body shop wise, even if they outsource it, you could still use that money.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah,
for sure.
So anyway, they didn't know that, and they were like, "Wow, thanks for telling us." It's just
the guy said the same thing to me. He's like, "Oh, sweet, thanks for being the first customer to actually use referral for service."
Yeah. So Kyle, you're thinking, even though didn't I hear you say you got a better value from, was it Carvana?
No.
CarMax?
No.
What did I hear you say?
I didn't.
Well, that must have been my other son.
I only went to Tesla for the trade-in value.
I only have one son.
I did put it in Carvana, but they never got back to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I mean, that's one thing I would definitely do is shop.
The whole reason I was doing this, though, is because I have to do like a 2-year ownership update of the Plaid.
Right.
And I wanted to know how much did I pay for it? What is it worth now? Just as part of the story of the car, which, well, that'll be another topic. So anyway, you flew in. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You flew in, you drove the Plaid, you stopped at Buc-ee's and charged, and then you came up
Kyle
here.
got so mad at me because I spent 45 minutes at Buc-ee's last night, and he was like, "Where are you? I want to go to sleep." And I bought banana pudding and everything, and it was a lot of fun. But no, it was a special thing. Here's what I'll say. I really enjoy driving my Model 3 Performance so much more than that Model S Plaid. The Model S Plaid is, it floats down the road, because of the air suspension. But I got to be honest, that Model 3 Performance that I have, it's soft.
He also has height adjustment sensors on his.
Nope.
Oh, you took them off?
Never put them in.
Oh.
It just feels big to me, guys. Like I don't miss my X.
Well, the
X
is terrible. It's so ugly looking from the inside. You truly feel you're inside of a jelly bean. Well, it looks better than the Y.
Yeah.
From the exterior, but the inside is just a blob.
I thought Kathy was going to love that car, and that would be our, that'll be it. She didn't even want to drive it. She'd go for a ride in it, but she didn't love to drive it. So anyway, it was great.
No track mode in Model X Plaid, by the way.
Probably for the better, honestly.
But yeah, you're right. Model S and X are the worst. Not that they're terrible cars or bad cars in any way. They're still better than so many cars, but they're the worst Teslas.
I think the best technology, best value, obviously, is the Model 3 rear-wheel drive right now. That's insane.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I really enjoy the Model 3 Performance. The suspension the ride on it feels so much better to me than my previous, when I had the...
Do you use the adaptive dampers at all?
Yeah, I play with it.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, like when I get off the exit, my one turn that I have from Stanford and whatever, I put it in that dynamic and put it in the in whatever, is it sport mode? I think it is sport mode, whatever it's called. And it firms it up.
There's also track mode.
I haven't even played with that yet.
Okay. We did once.
Yeah, we did once. That's right.
That was it.
Were you were there for that?
Yeah, I was there for pickup. Pretty cool
right.
location, but I would never buy a car out of a casino because I would just go put that money on a car or on a color and hope for the best.
Yeah, you're either getting two cars or no cars.
That was a lot of fun having you and Drew there, and that dinner we had. Oh man,
that was good.
That was Michael Jordan's Steakhouse.
What a great dinner! I don't know what Kyle ordered. Right, I had no idea, and it was just this massive plate of food, steaks. I don't know, kielbasa's. Everything was on shrimp,
delicious.
Lobsters. It was insane. But no, I really wanted to take delivery out of Mohegan Sun because, this whole issue about Tesla not being able to sell cars in certain states, including Connecticut. And I just think it's amazing how, this casino sitting in the middle of Connecticut, and yet you're able to take delivery out of there and purchase a car from there.
Right.
But
it's because it's native lands, right?
Yeah, it's federal lands. It's technically not Connecticut. But it's just...
And so the dealer laws don't apply.
That's right.
On federal land. And they've done this in other places
That's
too.
Correct. Yeah.
Because the dealership laws where you are required to sell through a franchised location is really scammy.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like there's certain things, like for example, in Stamford, there's a service center. They can talk to you about the economics of leasing a Tesla there, but not purchasing one, whether you finance it or cash.
So they can't tell you your finance rate?
They can't talk to you about financing or cash purchase, but they can talk to you about leasing a Tesla, but they don't deliver Teslas out of that location. Same thing for Milford. They can talk to you about leasing, but in Milford, I believe they can talk to you about selling as well. So it kind of depends on the local dealer laws as well as the state laws. But Mohegan Sun is like, it's like going into Mount Kisco. Everything goes there, which is great.
And Mount Kisco is another one of their locations.
Yeah,
right?
it's just over the border in New York State, and that's what. But what is it? If you live in New Hampshire, you have to take delivery in Paramus, New Jersey.
You're not allowed to go to the Boston Center for some reason.
Right.
So like Alyssa's uncle and we have some other friends that live in New Hampshire. They have to go to Paramus,
Right.
which is like a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, it's sketchy too because you might not make it out of New Jersey.
It's on 17.
Time,
though,
and you're
in
allowed to
Paramus.
say that because that's where you
Yeah,
live.
no, I'm not saying because it's bad. I'm just saying because the drivers are bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying crime rate's high.
Right,
it's just
right.
the bad
No.
drivers.
I mean, judge the crime rates for yourself.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, some weird dealer laws. But back to the cars here. Boy, you got some incredible lot here in terms of cars. The EV6 GT, the VinFast.
Oh, that's not incredible. I don't know what you're
Well,
talking about.
what I would
there.
say incredible for me because having access to be able to drive things other than, let's say, my Model 3 or Kathy's Model Y. Now I've got the Macan.
Yeah, you've gone heavy on the Tesla content.
I have.
And some viewers, because on the Out of Spec Dave YouTube channel, if you're not subscribed,
Yeah, I mean,
subscribe.
Yeah, I mean,
also, I think I can do this cool thing with our new setup. You guys won't be able to see this, but I can put your Twitter handle up on our screen. So now if you're a video viewer, it says Out of Spec Dave.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm at 24,000 subscribers, and my goal is to get to 25,000 by my birthday, which is January 18th.
Well, let's get them there, people.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, if you know a friend that's interested in hearing a little slightly different perspective than perhaps Kyle's and Timon's and Jordan's, come on over to the Out of Spec Dave channel. But yeah, look, I work full time. I make videos. I try to put up 3 a week, and I'm super busy. I tend to edit on the weeknights and film on the weekends. And so I only have access to what I have access to. I went down to New York City and filmed down at Revel a couple of weeks
I
ago,
saw
which
that.
was super interesting to me.
Yeah, they have those Chem Power
Yeah.
dispensers. But did you ever figure out the power levels?
We did, yes. We had consulted you about, because I think there's one thing which is the output of the units themselves, but it was also a limitation of the cables that they had chosen to put on those units. So I think that they were limited to, they claimed they were 320 kW
For 800-volt cars.
for 800 volt
But it's
cars.
nice how they distinguish that.
Yeah, and what was also interesting was how they separated off the CCS from the NACS. So they had a total of 10 stations there, and they can order them from ChemPower so that you get a CCS and an NACS on the same unit, and then you can pick which one you want to use. But the way they did it was they had 5 CCSs and then 5 NACs. And then as the demand changes, then what they'll do is they'll swap off, let's say, the CCS cables and put more of the NACs on. Maybe they did that from a cost standpoint. I'm not really sure. But I don't believe I ever really got the exact answer as far as what they would put out, because I think it was something to do with the limitation of the cables themselves. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was
Okay.
it was a really cool installation. There's this place called Basketball City, and it's just a giant warehouse filled with basketball courts. And it's actually built on a pier over the Hudson River. So the pavement that you're on, where the parking lot is for Basketball City, and the pavement for Revel is actually over the Hudson River. Now, when we got that big hurricane and the the tunnel that goes, the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, flooded, I mean, it completely filled with water, they had to mandate that what they did was they built all of the transformers and the chargers up about 10 feet off the ground. So that was an extra expense for them to do that. But it's the second DC fast charging location in all of New York City.
Yeah, we went to the other one.
Yeah. And the other one's open, I believe, from 9 to 9. This is 24 hours.
Yeah,
right.
that's
We
kinda-
went to the Gravity Hub.
Yep.
That's an indoor hub that's manned by, they have an actual employee there.
And it's basically just Uber drivers.
Yep.
We were the only
BZ4X.
customer. Yeah. They
Yeah.
put in these, what they claim, 500 kilowatt dispenser. I mean, I don't know.
They had all that overhead, like,
Yeah, it wasn't anything special from what we could find, but
I mean, like the entrance was like kind of like architecturally cool, where the person was sitting, but
Yeah.
then it's kind of just like
there's a parking garage.
New York City is the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they do, like they just charge BZ4Xs to 100%. That's their main purpose.
But they did say they were going to add a limit in to get them to like 80% and then kick them out because of how long they take to go from 80 to 100%.
I will say we tested the new BZ4X. Now, I know we're going on a tangent, but the charge is much better up top.
But
Actually, top charged faster than the Macan.
Wow.
I know.
What, Macan? The Ice Macan?
Well, definitely not
no,
faster
no
than that.
negativity about the Yukon. We have pocketbook shock. Okay, so
Yeah, well, you gotta, if you buy something, you gotta be real about it. You gotta say what you like and don't.
I think that Macan charges great.
You'll see on your trip. I mean, it charges great in a window, but it's no Taycan.
No, I get 2025 Taycan.
I thought
It's
it was
no-
similar to first gen Taycan even, but no.
Yeah, something about first gen Taycan's just a bit better, I think. I don't know.
You're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, so you came up here to the hub. What'd you drive today?
Today, well, I drove the Macan for the first time. And
That was the first thing. So you came here to the hub. You saw the Macan.
well, we
and-
came over in the Rivian. That was good getting back in there. That thing is really nice.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I love that thing.
Is the Gen 2 gone?
Gen 2. Oh, dude, when they picked that thing up, the Gen 2, after all the reviews this week, that it went on a transporter and nonstop to Irvine, to their engineering center.
They got to check the entire
They're
thing
going to
out.
check that thing out. It died on the transporter because I still have it in my app. And it was like 92 hours. They got it there. They must have pushed it off the truck or something because they plugged it into a 110 outlet at Irvine at their engineering center.
What did you have it at when you picked it up?
They brought it back to the hub when they got back to like where the press cars are kept.
Yeah.
In Denver, it was at 17%, and then I think they must have left the seatbelt buckled. And so I tried calling like our press guy, and I'm like, "Bro, you got to shut the truck off, and just so you know, so it doesn't die." He's like, "Oh, it's already on a transporter. It's on its way back."
Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, I did watch that video. That's a bit shocking to me. You would think that going to Gen 2 is a evolution, right?
Well, in some aspects, yes, it is. The light bars, the headlights themselves. I mean, the headlights.
It's the first Matrix headlights of any car in the U.S.
That's a lot better. It looks a lot better from a visual, but everything else is kind of from what
Well,
Kyle
it's just
told
like
me
not
is-
better. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's not like it's necessarily worse. In certain areas, there is like the heat pump is more efficient, but you get more noise. So if you like F-150 Lightning got a heat pump for this year, e-tron has a heat pump. There's a bunch of course, Teslas do, but they don't vibrate the whole car when they're on. I mean, occasionally you might hear it spin up or spin down as it goes through an area of resonance, but it's like Rivian went out of their way to program the heat pump when it's cold to generate heat at the shakiest resonance possible. So you're sitting in the car and it's like crazy to me.
Is it possible that this is a one-off?
No. Because the whole comment section on that video is filled with Gen 2 Rivian owners completely agreeing. And I've gotten a lot of private messages from people that like even work for Rivian and stuff too that are like, oh yeah, Gen 1's better. Gen 1's better.
So just grab all the tail lights and the headlights and then throw them in a Gen 1.
So I like the look of the light bar on Gen 1 better.
I really like the features that Gen 2 has with
Yeah.
all the lights.
And that
it can do.
emergency
Yeah,
split
it's
the lane
smart.
thing. Yeah.
But-
But when recently they were just blowing out the Gen 1s. Drew picked one up, right?
Yeah, it's outside here.
Yeah, the blue one.
Yep.
Right? And I remember you were like, Dad, these are really good deals.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't get one because Drew leased his for like $500 a month or something.
Yeah, I get that. But it's like the vision we have right now is Model 3 Macan.
Yeah, you don't have all the space in the world.
No.
But you always have space for a truck.
No, I really don't. I only have space for 2 cars. That's it.
Street park the Macan.
If I need more cars, I know where to go. Just come out here, and I
Yeah.
can, it was like I said, Kyle, what do you got? He started laughing. Dad, you know what I have? We've got one of everything. So come on out. Yeah. So I wanted to drive today. I didn't have enough time, but I wanted to drive the EV6 GT, only because I was just curious how that would compare to. I had an Ioniq 5 before. I've driven the EV6. I think it was a GT line, so I just kind of wanted to get a feel for how much what the differences were. And
Yeah, Timon, what do you think about the EV6 GT? Because I'm certainly not a fan of our EV6.
I think it's fine. I think it looks horrendous compared to the competitor, which is the Ioniq 5N.
Yeah, 5N is so much more car. Anyway, the EV6 GT is getting a refresh,
Right.
which we should say, and it matches Ioniq 5N performance.
I think the only benefit of the 6 over a base or 6 GT over a base one is the seats. The performance, it's not a car you really drive fast unless you're Kyle. But as if you're buying a sports daily car that's EV, Model 3 Performance or Ioniq 5N.
Yeah,
The
totally.
EV6 GT does not fit in that lineup at all.
Yeah.
It's like not quite sporty enough because you know they make a 5N.
Right.
And the 5N shifting thing is actually really
Right.
fun.
It's actually entertaining.
Even though I want to hate it, I love it. I think it's so fun. And then the 3 Performance is like 25 grand less or
Right.
something, and is honestly a better car.
Yeah, you get track mode.
Yeah, the only problem is the thermals on the Model 3. Like if you're gonna track it, 5N. If you're not, then 3 Performance.
Yeah, but hold on. Let's talk about that for a second, because you know the two guys from Canada that trashed the Model 3 when they brought it out on track. You saw that video, right? Recently, Kyle?
Nope.
Oh, the straight pipes?
Yeah.
No, not them. Not
the-
Jacob and Yuri.
Well, anyway, there was two guys. They basically had it out on the track, and it started overheating in the brakes, and they were like, "Okay, it's."
Well, that's a Tesla thing where it breaks. It's a U9 thing too on the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
It's
But there was just a new recent video that came out that Kyle you told me about that I needed to watch, and I am drawing a blank as to who that
It was Jason Camisa's
That's right.
thing.
Jason Camisa's thing, and
Yeah,
he,
you were thinking of Throttle House's
Throttle
video.
House, that's right.
I forgot they did the
they
thing. but yeah.
trashed the Model 3.
But by the way,
Performance.
Throttle House production, can we just say for a second? Awesome.
Oh yeah,
They know how to make a video. They are like the new
Absolute-
Top Gear.
absolutely.
And Jason also knows how to make a great video. I mean, it's not our style at all, nor would we ever, that's not our space, but they make some beautiful content.
No doubt. But I felt a lot better. Not that I'm not taking my car out. I am going to go up to Lime Rock. I'm going to learn how to drive.
you are taking it out on
Yeah,
track.
you
I am
performance.
I'm going to. I really am, because I want to learn how to drive a lot better than I do. I drive. I feel like I'm a safe driver, but we were out today with the Macan, and Kyle was like, "Yeah, he's not really pushing it," and I'm scared. I mean, you've been there,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm so used to it at this point to where I recently started getting a little motion sick while being in the car with him. But before that, I mean, I trust him with my life.
I get motion sickness.
As you've seen with us almost dying, he was completely calm, and I was cursing. Out
Oh,
the
in
wazoo.
the Audi RS e-tron GT.
Yeah, but what would be interesting would be you versus my dad on track. I think you would be a bit better.
I think, I don't know. I've never actually been in the car with Jan driving because your mom always drives.
Right.
Here's my thing. I actually don't like when you're on rails and cutting through a turn. I like when you're in a controlled slide with him. Once he's in the
you can be in a controlled slide in any car. It just
Right.
determines what speed.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is, like, until I'm in that controlled slide with Kyle and he keeps accelerating, that's when I start losing it. Now, the good news about the Macan is you can grab in the center. Or not, I'm talking about the ICE, or the Macan EV.
Yeah.
There's a great grab rail in the center. There's one on the door handle, and you have the top one as well. So there's lots of places to hold on in that car.
Yeah, I mean, usually when we go out to a canyon, like in California, like Angeles Crest,
Allegedly.
yeah. Well, I'm not saying anything bad right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
We're just like moseying on behind traffic, and then I'm just like, go on my phone. I'm like, oh, this is fine, just a spirited pace. And then traffic goes away, and I'm still on my phone, not paying attention, and that's when I get motion sickness, because he's just like,
Yeah.
we're going.
Yeah, if you're ever on your phone and have G-force, you will get instantly sick.
Two things come to mind here: a Winnebago, and your reaction.
Oh man, I thought I
That
was
is the
gonna
most
die.
classic. I mean, that.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, where we were on Angeles Crest, and we weren't even going that fast.
No, it was a spirited run.
Yeah,
Nothing crazy. But if I'm not driving, I'm not really paying attention. I'm just looking ahead, moseying on along. And he was paying attention, thankfully. He's seen it coming, but I don't know how he reacted that quickly.
yeah, I don't know. Though,
if that Winnebago had decided not to commit to go into the parking lot, that would have been game over.
Yeah, for me and Drew.
well, we thought they went off the edge
The cliff.
because they turned so aggressively into
At
the parking
speed.
lot, and they were hauling, and it's a downhill, and it's dirt, and then there's a cliff. And so were like, did they go off the cliff? And I don't think in that clip we actually ever mentioned it. They never went off the
yeah,
cliff.
we turned around and they were parked up, surprisingly.
Yeah, holy smokes.
And then one other thought came to mind is years ago, we were in North Carolina / Tennessee on the Tail of the Dragon, and I had one of my Gen 3 Now, before you laugh, Priuses.
Oh,
Prii,
The Prii.
which I borrowed for a summer in North Carolina.
It was a Prius 5
with tech pack, and the good wheels and sport suspension,
adaptive cruise control,
which was really cool at the time.
Absolutely, and
I had it for the summer because I was interning at Richard Petty's place,
right,
and I needed a car.
yeah. And so, of course, you got, if you're interning for Richard Petty, you got to have a Prius, right? So I think it was about 3/4 of the way through teledragging, heading towards Tennessee from North Carolina. It's only a little bit in North Carolina before you get going, right? From like whatever that.
no one actually really starts at the
Yeah.
bottom of teledragging. Everyone starts at like a half mile before Tennessee side.
Right.
Well, all I can tell you is that when we ended up on the other side, I got out of the car and I puked.
So did my sister's dog
Yeah.
when I crashed my car on that road.
Oh yeah, that was really, that gold minivan came out of nowhere. Timing.
Crazy. We still joke about that with my family.
There was so much body roll, right, in that car, and the way he was driving it, just I had no idea that
It was possible.
Like I knew he was a good driver, right? I've seen him in the snow, in the mountains, and driving snowmobiles and motorcycles and quads, but never really, like, that opened my eyes to what a great driver he was. But today,
Well, I'm certainly not the best driver, but also I do remember distinctly running. Like, no one could get away from the Prius. That was my goal that weekend.
Right. It always is.
Always is the goal. Yeah.
And then today, what was interesting was the Macan has Sport Plus on the suspension, but not on the drivetrain.
You can separate drivetrain and suspension height. So you can go sport drivetrain, damper control, and height.
And so he was driving relatively spiritedly. Allegedly, is that the right way to say it?
Yes.
And I said, well, why aren't you putting it in Sport Plus on the suspension? And he said he likes to have that body roll, so a little bit.
Well, yeah,
softer.
I remember it too. We were at NC Car, and my friend James just threw him the keys. I was like, "Oh, let's take out the Fiesta." And now every time he asks for keys, I'm like, tell my friends, do you care about your brake pads or rotors? Because it's full throttle, full brake, full body.
I think we had the Fiesta on 2 wheels.
Yeah, I think so too. And my friend was like shocked that the car could do that, but then was like, damn, my brakes are gone. And then a month later, he got T-boned by somebody else, so it worked out fine.
Not our problem anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, so I know we're all over the place, and that's kind of the spirit of this particular podcast. But
yeah,
you know what was amazing today was walking in here to the hub and seeing Kyle's Model 3 performance. What is that, a 2019?
It's finally
with
back.
140 or 150,000 miles on it. That looks great. And then, there's the Volkswagen, right? The Golf EV.
Mm-hmm.
E-Golf, sorry.
It's a really nice car, okay?
And then
with the hole in the hood.
And then the Nissan Leaf, right?
Oh, we don't have to go into detail, but there's 15 cars here. Some are nice, some aren't.
Yeah, most are not.
No, so we actually took the 3 cars. What did you say? What can you buy for $5,000 or less?
Well, I thought we haven't shot the video. Maybe I'll shoot it tomorrow. But I wanted to do a video of, we cover, of course, all cars on Out of Spec Reviews, reviewing whatever. And that doesn't just mean new Rolls-Royce Spectres.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish that could be the job. But we also have to provide.
By the way, when you took that to Popeyes, that was funny.
Took it to Bojangles.
Bojangles, yes.
Popeyes is better, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Bojangles. What were we doing? Oh, yeah. What's the best electric car for under $5,000? That's the video.
Yeah, so you got 3 out there. You got the Leaf, you got the Golf, and what's the other one?
B-Class.
Oh, the B. Oh, time.
Is that $5,000?
I paid $3,000 for mine.
Oh.
Time. I drove that thing today.
Yeah, but it has 100 miles of range, maybe.
That's the most out of all 3 of them.
That's true. What, the e-Golf gets, 70?
50.
Oh, my God.
the Leaf's more like 40.
And you have aero wheels on the e-Golf, too.
Yeah, well, maybe with those wheels, it's even less.
Oh, yeah, because it's super wide.
Yeah, I had the little tiny aero wheels, and that's what we did, 50-something miles on a range test.
But, Kai was telling me today about how that B-Class kind of saved Tesla, which I never understood. So I mean, there's a story interesting there.
Yeah, we'll tell it one day. I haven't really done the full B-Class reviews yet.
Yeah,
I need to get it registered.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been here for that long either. It's been maybe since you got the hub, it's been here.
Yeah, it was right when we got the hub. Or actually afterwards, because we brought it back after I-90 surge. It's just got back here.
Yeah.
Which that feels like a lot longer ago, or a lot closer than it was, because the videos just came out.
Right,
Yeah,
it's been
that's
like
true.
a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the Lucid's still here.
Yeah, that's surprising too. I thought they were going to take that away.
Oh, yeah, they definitely asked. And I was like, well, we have a couple more videos. I'm actually bringing it back to Lucid Sunday. I'm driving it out to them because I'm driving Gravity on Tuesday.
Oh, cool. You
Yeah.
bring the Gravity back here?
No, it's a 2-hour window, I think.
Mm.
I don't think I can mention anything about it
I
yet.
don't think you can make it back here in 2 hours either.
No. Yeah. It's like 12 or 1,600 miles drive, something like that. But anyway, I haven't road tripped this Lucid yet, so I'm not going to run it out of charge. Knock on wood. And I'm just going to enjoy the road
into
trip.
the charger at 1% and you'll be fine.
Right, 1%'s fine. That car does not like 0% consistently. Although they said they learned a lot from your data, Dad, on your trip, and they're going to adjust some of their tuning.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, look, we won't get back into it too much, but I think that the run that you did here in Colorado, 70 mile an hour, going 500 and X number 10 miles, and then when it came off of 70 and how far you went past there was just in my brain. But the speeds that we were going were
It's
higher.
not even that. It's just sway.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Certainly you had... the thing is, you could not have put more load on the car than I did, because I was full throttle. So it's not like I could even maintain 70. I ran out of 70 and then still went another 12 miles below 70 at wide open throttle.
Mm-hmm.
So that was not the issue. It just was not consistent. I think that's a whole nother topic for another day that I've never really shared my opinion on. But I really think it's a car fault rather than a human fault.
Yeah.
I would have probably done the same thing. Maybe I would have dropped 5 miles an hour.
That's
But,
probably, in hindsight, we should have, right? We should have, you know how you bounce it off 1% to 2%,
Right.
and just play with it there.
That's where you want it to be.
Yeah, and that didn't happen because we were confident we had the range. We were only 7.5 miles away from Albany, so we thought we had it. Oh,
Rookie
man.
mistake.
I know. I should have taken the gas car.
I mean, the Lucid was more comfortable. I
Oh,
guarantee
the
it.
Lucid was amazing. I mean, Alex, 6'10", he's sitting in the front seat of that thing all the way back. It was better than a first class seat with the massaging seat going. It was amazing.
I mean, my head was tilted like Taycan is. If you're in the back seat, it's either like this or this.
Yeah.
It's not that comfortable.
You were in the Acura.
Yep. Said M5 CS next time.
Oh, yeah. That actually could have been a great car.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe if we do it in Canada.
Yeah.
We talked about it with Isaiah last night, and maybe we grab the least efficient new car on sale. If it's an SUV, as long as it's not a Jeep Wrangler.
Dude, imagine driving a Jeep Wrangler across Canada.
Oof.
That sounds terrible.
Throw me in a
Does
Humvee.
Stellantis build anything good?
Can we
Hellcat.
Can we make
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. And I think they've stopped building them, right?
No, I think they still make Charger and Challenger.
Really?
But they
'Cause the
don't make
new-
Trackhawk or Challenge or...
But isn't the new Charger and Challenger coming?
Oh, yeah, the EV.
Yes.
And they look terrible.
I think so too, actually. I really don't. I'm like not actually excited to be in those. at
Yeah,
all.
they really could have just put like their drivetrain into an already existing look.
Just make the Pacifica electric. Like, let's just
Yeah.
go to stuff that's not going to
We
piss
like
people off. Right, yeah. Everyone likes the supercharger whine. Okay, so we're back to the hub. You came here. We drove in the Rivian, which was nice, and that's like a 3-minute drive. And so you got that experience.
Yeah.
I preconditioned it before we left.
We went to Starbucks.
In
Of course.
The Macan, though.
By the way, I'm proud of you for no more pink drink.
That's Drew's doing,
Yeah, that's all Drew.
saving his life.
I think that's a really good
And
thing.
do you like
Kyle.
his seating
Yeah.
position now too? Straight back.
I've always been upright, but I've been
Not
extra upright. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the issue with my Model S. The seat won't go forwards enough because it's lost calibration. And I brought it into Tesla 3 times for this issue. They told me, sorry, we couldn't fix it. We couldn't find an issue. And I'm like showing them the passenger seat going forwards.
Right.
And then the driver's seat is like, lean back. And then I bring it back into service for something else, mention it to them. It gets fixed. And they're like, we didn't do anything. But I'm like, you must have reset something. Now it's back to not going forwards again enough. Which is why I
Disconnect the
don't.
12 volt.
I don't think it. I think it's a 16 volt in that one.
Oh,
I think it's the lithium battery, but I guess you can disconnect it. I don't know. Anyway, what were we talking about? You drove the Macan. So tell us all about driving the Macan for the first time. I picked this car up from a dealer. You custom ordered this car.
Yeah.
It's mom's car. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, this was not the first time I've driven the Macan EV because, classic dad story here, being the dad of Kyle Connor. I'm sitting at home. It's a Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning. Kyle says, "Hey, Dad, can you go to Germany?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. When? Tonight." I go, "Huh?"
Well, he asked me that too. He asked me that too.
He did?
I said, "Yeah, no, I'm good."
You said, "No, you're good?" Well, I said, "Yes, I'll go." And
I was actually supposed to go,
no, I know.
and I wasn't feeling so great.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could do it, but I really don't want
But
to.
it also, I think you would have gone if it was the launch of the Macan EV.
Which I already went on.
Right.
Yeah, so this was like, here's a new variant.
Right. So it was the rear-wheel drive and the 4S, and I had a great time. First of all, it was super interesting for me to be exposed to all the different people at corporate from Porsche, and meeting some of the other journalists. I say other journalists, me, right? I'm like way out over my skis here, but I had done a.
But it was an international program, so you saw people like Chris Rifa. And you saw
so they
others.
had a Norway team there, and then they had the U.S. team, and then different. They had people coming in from Asia, so they were doing it in waves. But the thing was, I had done so much research about this car because we had previously ordered one that it was really incredible to be able to go out and drive one. The thing was, I drove the rear-wheel drive and I drove the 4S in Germany. I did not drive the 4. So today was the first time that I've driven the 4. And I haven't never driven a turbo, nor do I think I need to. I mean, it's just, I don't really think you need.
It doesn't make a difference unless you go past 70% throttle. They're the same.
Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised, Timon, that it to me, it has enough power. The difference, though, what I would say is that the Y, especially my wife's Y, because it has the acceleration boost, is way faster. Like off the line, the Model Y just jumps. The Model Y also, even though we have the Gemini 19-inch wheels, it feels a bit sportier. Like the Macan to me it's not a Porsche race car. It's not like a 911 or a Taycan. It's a bit floaty, and that's why we like it. That's why Kathy likes it a lot. So the massaging seats were great. They were super comfortable. I have to figure out the steering wheel because the distance between where I like to keep the steering wheel and the B pillar is not quite wide enough for my big gut to be able to, so we were playing with that a little bit, but I have a lot to learn. I think that it's interesting, the route planner that I'm looking to use. Kyle, we put in our address on the route planner today from here to there. I'm not kidding you. Less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like a 2,000 mile trip.
1,800 miles, Timon. In 2 seconds, it had it mapped out.
Yeah. Not only did it have the route, it had all the chargers, how long you would stay there, the real-time charging status. It's incredible.
Really, really good. And we put in, as long as it's 250 kilowatt or higher.
So it automatically will do that. When I selected 250 kilowatt or higher, it's just what will it show you in a list on closest chargers.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that. What was interesting was we were trying to figure out if you can see whether or not the car is preconditioning. So we put in an EA close to here, and we went to go over there to drive by it, and you couldn't see any indication on the dash that you're preconditioning. Like Tesla comes up, boom,
right.
You're preconditioning.
Does it give you the battery stuff that the Taycan does?
No. It doesn't tell you real-time charging power. The Macan is missing some real things. There's 3 things. The first is it won't tell you when it's preconditioning. The second is it won't tell you how fast you will charge at any given time, which even an ID4 does now. And Taycan does it, so Porsche knows they need to do that. And most annoyingly out of all 3 is it will not tell you when you're at -% arrival.
Right, that's the most annoying part.
That's so if you're in a Tesla or even a Taycan and it's you'll get there at -2%, but you're still 100 miles away, you can drop a few miles an hour and just balance it right at 0. The Macan is 0. And I'm I don't know if that's -30 or -1.
By the way, the Lucid's the same way.
Right. Lucid has the same problem.
And that's a problem.
Especially for that much range. I mean, we're dead with it. Not the first time you've had a dead car.
But the one thing that the Macan does give you is battery temperature, and it actually shows you on the indicator where the optimal temperature is for you to plug in. So let's say it's at, I don't know, 67 degrees Fahrenheit, and it should be at 80.
Should be at 72 most of the time.
72, whatever it is, right? You'll see the indicators. So if you do put in the destination for your next charging station, and you start seeing the temperature increase in the battery pack from 65 to 75 to 72, you know what I'm saying? If it starts going up, that's the only way that you know that it's preconditioning. Now, on my Ioniq 5 years ago, there was a little indicator that would come on and then it would go off. So when you put in the destination, you would see, oh, it is preconditioning. I don't know if they fixed that in subsequent versions. They did? Okay, so that's old data. But I like, they in some ways they're giving you a lot of data on the Macan, but in other ways, Kyle was starting to tell me, Dad, they're not giving you, like, for example, when you're regenning. What was that you were telling me about with the regen today? There was an indicator in the Taycan where it actually cuts over.
No.
What was that dot? What was that line that you were talking about today? With the Taycan has it, but the Macan is missing it.
What was the line?
There was like a gray line.
Oh, it's the charging power line. That's for DC charging. And I think the Macan does have it.
I've never charged it, but also isn't Taycan made for GT3 owners and Macan is just everybody else?
It feels like Taycan still is, if you're a Porsche enthusiast or an EV enthusiast, Taycan clearly gives you all the stuff you want. Macan feels like
what the Model Y aimed to be.
Yeah, I mean, like it gives you so much stuff, but not everything. And it's like, for my mom, she wouldn't even care about any of this stuff. So like they found the right buyer and the right car and the right tuning. But for us, it's like, just give me a little bit more. What we were talking about with regen was the bed-in process, the break-in process.
Right.
But the charging graph, I think Macan does tell you, for sure it does, actually. It tells you when your, its request from the charger is like a light gray line, and then what you're getting is a green line. So you know if it's the charger limitation or car limitation. Right.
Yeah, the other thing that Kyle is very seriously, all kidding aside, has warned me about is the park button on the Macan. Because not only did you experience it, Kyle, but Alyssa did as well.
Yeah, both she and I almost have driven through 2 garage doors.
Explain that.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, this is a real Macan problem. It's so the button on the dash is a P to hit park, which is like normal for Porsche now.
Right.
And but the problem is the Macan, for whatever reason, maybe it's the angle or the shape of the button or how I'm hitting it, and it can't just be me, because I was in the car with Alyssa and I'd be like, slam on the brakes. It'll click. You can hit it quick enough or in the right place where it makes the full click sound.
You hear a click sound.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I've engaged park.
But then isn't going into park.
It didn't get the push.
Huh.
Now,
and so then you're like off the brakes and you're starting to like, let me just unbuckle, and the car's rolling.
Now, I haven't driven the car very much, but it hasn't done that for me. Every single time
I showed you it once, though.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's, you know what it is? The button is, it's not like a square or round button. It's an odd shaped button. And maybe if you push the button in the lower right, you'll hear the click, but it won't invoke the switch.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not, that is flat out dangerous.
Yeah. So the thing is, if the car had one pedal driving,
right,
it wouldn't just
Which
roll forward.
Every EV should have.
I think so.
Don't disagree.
Yeah, totally. But if it had one pedal driving, or if you were in auto hold, it's no big deal. If, like, even in Teslas on the screen, sometimes I try and hit park and it doesn't grab it, like on the Cybertruck or the Model S. It doesn't really matter because the car's not rolling. I can open the door. As soon as the door's open, it goes into park. Macan, same thing. If you unbuckle, it will not go into park, but if you open the door, it will. I think I tested that. I have to double check.
So just leave your foot on the brake and then open the door.
Yeah, or just really make sure it goes into park. But now I'm like paranoid every time I park it, especially in a tight place here where there's other cars around.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's a real design problem.
Yeah. So that was something that we have to be really careful about. The other thing that my wife Kathy did not want to check the box on the Bose stereo, and the ridicule. Like when I was in Stuttgart, people knew that Kathy didn't get the Bose stereo. I don't know how they knew.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about it.
But the honest truth is, Timon, it sounds pretty damn good.
I've only spent like 10 minutes in it, driving it to Fort Collins, Porsche. So
And Kyle doesn't even disagree.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
It sounds pretty good.
Yep. I thought it was going to be way worse.
Yeah, so the wheels, I wasn't sure how the base wheels were going to look. You know, it's when you see them, I actually saw them over in Stuttgart, and I was happy with them. It's sort of with the character of this car. We didn't try and go for the race car version of the Macan, right?
Right.
You're a full range. You're a road trip spec.
And honestly, I think that when the rear wheel drive came out, and we had already ordered, months ago, the Macan 4, we would have gone for the rear wheel drive.
Even being in Connecticut to where it snows 5 times a year?
It doesn't snow. All right, I've got the Hakkapeliitta R5 EV tires on my Model 3. Why? Because I'm taking that up to the mountains.
Yeah.
But like even next weekend, Kathy and I, that's one of the things where we want to go up to British, not Vancouver, to Quebec City. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was just going to see how long it was going to take.
I was about to say it too.
Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia. So we want to take it on a road trip. So we've got a set of Nokians for that car. We'll put them on there. But generally speaking, for where we're going now, it's not like we have the house in Vermont anymore. We're not going up to Vermont every single weekend. Most of the time she's gonna keep that car in Florida.
Right.
That's where it'll be. So I think we would have gone with the rear wheel drive. Having said that, though, the rear wheel drive, it's only got EPA rated range of 7 miles more than the 4, and you get a lot more regen with the Macan 4 because you get the extra motor in the front. I personally, the amount of, how do you call this, off pedal regen, like when you're on it in your Model 3 or Model Y, you don't ever really have to touch the brake. This Macan feels like much more of a conventional car to me.
I thought the exact same thing when I first drove it. It definitely felt just like a Macan over a Macan EV.
And I think that, with the PPE platform, my understanding is, I haven't driven the Audi variants of it, but Audi's engineers, they actually gave it one pedal driving.
Yes.
So why didn't Porsche do that? Okay, so let's get this straight. Because it's a driver's enthusiast car, okay? And then they pipe in fake sounds for $500.
Race car.
Okay, that's you're being a corporate. It's like a corporate oxymoron. Give us the switch. You can do it. Give us the one pedal driving, and you if you don't want to have it, just turn it off.
Right, and it's a completely different car to Taycan. Like I understand Taycan not having one pedal driving.
Yeah, that's a real. The Taycan is a hardcore electric machine that is clearly class leading in many areas performance, although Lucid Sapphire also pretty crazy. But then also in the road tripping category, like Taycan is top in almost every single category. Macan is just a car.
It's just there.
The only thing is, like, I was talking to a couple of the engineers and some of the people in Stuttgart. This is not a super high volume car. They're only able to make X number of them. And Kyle was telling me today, that's a car for the entire world out of that one factory.
Yeah, in Leipzig. And they share the line with the Panamera and the Ice Macan.
And the Ice Macan, right. So
but then Ice Macan's going to get slowed down either way because EV Macan is going to take over sales, I'm assuming.
So let's talk about that. I'm not so sure.
So you just spent a lot more money for an electric Macan than an Ice Macan.
But here's the thing.
Who else is going to do that, though?
The comments that I'm getting about us buying this, or at least we leased it for 39 months, so there is truly a real contract here this time for Kathy's
You
car.
have to keep it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hers, right? So she's the one who's decided to get rid of the Y and go for this. But the fact that there's so many people commenting, I would not buy that car because it doesn't have one pedal driving.
It makes sense, yeah.
It's also $90,000 for a relatively lightly spec'd Macan.
Yeah, a lot of people would consider your car to be base.
Yeah.
I classify it as base. Besides, you got the Porsche crest on the head.
Because the rear wheel drive is only about $3,000 less. It's not, so you're going to buy an $85,000 car. How much can you buy a Model Y long range for today?
You can buy a Model 3 Performance and a Model Y and maybe an X, a used X, for the price of a Macan.
So the answer is I don't think Porsche cares about trying to build so many and sell so many of the Macans. They want it to be somewhat of a limited production car, but I don't know how many people they're truly going to attract. Look, you're going to have the first mover adopters. You're going to have those that fall in love with it and pay sticker like we did, right? But these things in 2-3 years, you're going to be able to pick one of these up like really poor, like for a great price.
Yeah, they're not only are they going to depreciate, they're going to have insane lease deals on these things, I think.
Perhaps. Lease deals, I can tell you, Porsche's residuals are not like really bad, but their money factors are super high.
So big interest.
Big interest. We're talking north of 9%.
Holy
my
cow.
goodness. So,
Yeah.
and you couldn't do like the MSD thing. Remember on
No.
BMWs, you could pay multiple security
Yeah.
deposits, get it back,
No,
buy down your interest.
None of that was discussed. Yeah, so, but the reason why we leased it was just out of pure self-defense from a bloodbath. And the bloodbath is, how much could that car... In 6 months, we'll know the answer to your question. You think the ICE version is going to be phased out in, let's say, 12 to 18 months, maybe 24 max? I think the market's going to determine that, right? It's think about all these manufacturers today that are shifting their strategies from all in on EV, saying we're going to be all in by this year.
Well, okay, so let's just say really quick, Porsche is huge markets in China, which clearly is going electric.
Yeah.
Without stopping.
Yeah.
Then also Germany, their localized market, has the infrastructure. They're ready to go electric.
Yeah.
And America is...
Getting there. Slow.
We'll see what happens, but I don't think it's going to slow down. I just don't think we're going to see this massive rise.
Look, we have the Macan ICE sitting out next to the Macan EV right here in the parking lot.
Yeah, I've seen that, but
I don't think they're the same car.
Well, they're clearly not.
No, but I'm saying like you can't. Why would you even call one? They're both Macans. They're not. The Macan ICE car is, to me, it feels. I mean, even when Kathy had she had the S and the other one, it feels old to me.
Well, it is.
This new car, this EV, you get in it. Okay, you maybe don't love it, but it's all the newest, latest, greatest technology that's in there. So I don't know what's going to happen, but they're making those cars, they're stamping them out, and if the demand wanes, sure, then the switch will go over there. But there isn't like a definitive date that's happening. It's kind of like with what's happening with Mustang. They're still building the gas Mustang, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they just called.
Oh, that was a marketing disaster, calling it a Mustang.
You think? Yeah. I don't know. I think it worked out for them. So on the Macan side of things, you got this car. What are the plans with it? What are you going to end up doing with it long term? You have it for 3 years. What's coming?
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is Kathy's car. She's going to be driving it. She commutes to work every day in it. Her back is kind of bad, so having a massaging seat is something that she is really looking forward to. Loved the massaging seat in the Lucid. So then she gets the GV60, and that was an air bladder system, and it really wasn't that good.
The Ergo Motion seat.
Yeah, and it was same as like the ID4. It's okay, right? But at least in the ID4, you got 2 front seats had the massaging. The GV60, it was only the driver's seat. So
even funnier than that is the Q4 e-tron, which is supposed to be the nice ID4, doesn't get massaging seats.
That's crazy.
The ID4 does.
That's crazy. So here, if we could take her GV60 on a road trip, guess what? She's sitting in the passenger seat. I'm driving. I have the massaging seat. She doesn't. So, yeah.
But in the Macan, you get both.
You get both. And
what about the general... Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to...
I'm just saying that's going to be her car for the next 39 months. And, we're going to be in Connecticut. She's going to be in Florida. It's going to be our road tripper. We got 15,000 miles a year, which, so... And one thing about Porsche is every other lease company I've ever seen is 25 cents a mile after, over. It's 30 cents a mile. So, and the buy-down rate, the difference between 10, 12, and 15 was minimal. So if you're looking to lease a Macan, without a doubt, I highly recommend, unless you're just not going to drive 10,000 miles a year or, more than that. But for Kathy, it's like the peace of mind to know that let's go to Canada, or which car should we take? No, we're going to take the Macan. Let's drive down to Florida. Okay, which car? We'll take the Macan. Why? Because of the peace of mind without the mileage there. As silly as it is, at the end of the lease, you think. The one regret that we have, that I have, she doesn't have, I have, after driving the Macan in Germany, that heads-up display is amazing, because it's more like a augmented reality than just, you know, in like a BMW, it shows you directions, turn here, turn there.
Well, BMWs do this now.
They do?
Everyone does.
The i7?
Even the ID3 does it.
Okay. Well, I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
I thought
3 years
was,
ago, the M340i did that.
Yeah, but this is new for Dave Connor.
No,
so
so I was driving somewhere in Germany, and there was I think it was what doesn't matter, it was a Hyundai Santa Fe, and he was coming over to my lane, and there's a big giant yellow marker was literally stamped on that car, and as it came over, so was the yellow marker, and the car started beeping at me. So that interactive, I wish we had done that.
It is more interactive than other cars for sure, and it's cool.
And it's the whole windshield, guy.
Yeah, it's massive. It's
like,
a nice head-up display.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So, but here's let me just tell you, I really love it. I'm not let down in any way. Kathy's going to love it. I know she will. There's a lot to learn. And it feels like a little bit of a step back in time, just because we're so used to the screens in Tesla.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It is complicated. I'm curious to see if Mom can figure it out.
Yeah. She's probably not going to.
No. Does she know her Model Y pretty well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the only concern I have with her liking this car is there's a bunch of screens, bunch of buttons. Nothing makes sense as to where it is until you buy into the Porsche ecosystem. Then like I can think about, okay, it's got to be this menu, but it could be 7 menus deep. And then just today we were trying to set up plug and charge, and Porsche is so bad with software.
I wasn't going to go there.
No, they really are. I mean, look, people sometimes think we're like paid by Porsche or something to say nice things. Clearly, we're really not. Their software sucks. And the Macan software, it delayed the car 2 years, and they still, like, in order for us to get plug and charge on this car, I called my buddy who's like project manager for Macan for PCNA, and he's like, bro, you're gonna have to reset the whole car, do a factory reset to get plug and charge.
So I go on the app here.
It's just a bug, and they're like, and then they were like, it may not even work for a while.
I went on the app to put plug and charge, because I don't want to have to, like, I want to be able to, when I'm going home tomorrow, plug and charge, right? It's great. Lucid worked pretty much every time. I think one time Shane had to use the app for it, and so and I'm used to that. Tesla. When do you even think about, you know, Tesla? You plug it works, right? So that's the experience that we kind of want to have. But, you know, this plug and charge issue was, I went on the app and it said failure. It couldn't do it. So I was trying to do it from Connecticut last week. So it said, oh, you have to be at the car. So today, Kyle and I tried it, couldn't get it to work.
Well, good luck on your drive home.
It's the back end system to recognize that, I don't know, maybe for payment or something like that. Look, I think
like can't install the certificate in the vehicle. That's the bug.
Yeah. The other thing that I will say that Porsche should have done a better job of, in my opinion here, was the delivery of this vehicle. The car was built. It was in Houston at a port on August 18th. Okay. And it sat there until 3 weeks ago, and it was waiting for some hardware parts, and it was also waiting for a software update. Finally, they threw in the towel and said, we'll let the dealer do it. And the dealer did it in less than a day.
Yeah.
So here we are. You know, one of the reasons I'm driving this car home is because we thought we were going to have this car in September, right? And so Kyle would have it for a month or two and do what you want, the 70-mile-an-hour test and all that. Now she's been waiting for a car since it was literally in this country since August 18th. And so that releasing the car from the port to the dealers and letting the dealers do their job, that should have happened sooner. And, you know, I don't know why it didn't happen sooner.
The screaming everyone is hearing, by the way, is our dog. He talks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, anyway, so overall, here's what I would say. It's Thanksgiving. We all have a lot to be thankful for. Kyle, this hub is awesome. I think this setup is great.
Well, you didn't talk about driving the Cybertruck.
Well, the Cybertruck, okay, I could talk about driving the Cybertruck.
Yeah, just give us a quick, you drove whatever else you drove here.
I
give us a quick
spent maybe a total of an hour driving it. Remember, we drove up to the Wyoming border and then turned around and was, okay, I've been in Wyoming. That was one of the only states I'd ever been to in my life. And Kathy had never been there either. but I had forgotten how the Cybertruck feels. And here's the thing. I just think it's such a ridiculously odd, bizarre, crazy, stupid looking vehicle. I mean, like, why? Why would anyone design something like that? But when I just got in it and drove it, it's just solid. You're in it. It feels not just fast. It feels solid. It's every bit of Tesla. It's got quite a smooth ride. I was surprised. My observation, I was out on 25.
Yeah, I agree.
I went up
ride's
like
nice.
3-4 exits. It's falling apart.
Genuinely, they're replacing the whole side of the truck.
But
in
that's
service.
also Kyle took it off roading.
No. The A pillar,
Oh,
the
right.
like whole side blades, they're replacing both of those.
There's a piece of metal that's like flapping in the wind as you're.
That's Tesla right there.
Yeah, that's a VIN 100 something Tesla.
I don't know, but I mean, it's just everything about it. But
and by the day, it's losing $1,000 a day in value right now.
That's crazy.
I'm just guessing, maybe more.
yeah, maybe, I don't know, but it drove great.
The last time I drove it, it had the bigger wheels and tires on it, so don't know how it drives stock.
Yeah, very similar.
There were a lot of things flying around in the wheel wells, and like water bottles and lint brushes, and I wasn't sure if it was the car at first, if it was the Cybertruck.
No, we have it packed full of crap.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff in there, but no, listen, I honestly, the Cybertruck has surprised me to the upside for its drivability, its functionality, its turning radius, its quickness, its solidness, and how it floats on the highway. And I would never have guessed that car would be as solid as it is. It's one of the things I put in the video that I made today was, oftentimes things, you design something as a company and you design it like it's beautiful and it looks great, but it doesn't really have any functionality. It's a poser vehicle. This is not a poser vehicle. People are buying them because of the look, and they're wrapping them for their businesses, or they just want to show off or what have you, but there's substance behind this vehicle, which is what is surprising to me. And it's also staying power. I think they're selling really well, and they're continuing to sell really well. So yeah, Kyle, I liked it. I was happy.
Good to hear. So I guess the next time you join us on this podcast, you won't be here.
You never know. My airline ticket was cheap, and I worked the whole time. It was great. Came out here, landed. There was a car ready for me. I want to come out here more often. I
keep hitting the wrong buttons on this thing. I just pulled up something that said Emma Smith, and that's just the built-in default. It's podcast one, but it's podcast one at the hub. I mean, the camera setup's going to get way better. The lighting will get better. The audio, I can dial this thing in.
And the direction of topics probably will get better as well. I mean, we're all over the place.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of what a podcast is, just yip-yapping around.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go for another 2 hours, but Alyssa wants to go.
Oh, boy.
She's laughing down there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, there's so much more to talk about, but they're rushing us.
It's dark out now. We started how long ago?
1 hour, 12 minutes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm looking forward to the road trip home. I'm torn because I do want to stay. I love hanging out with Kyle. It's fun. It's just, you never know what's going to happen, right? You just don't know. There's planning, but then there's just spontaneity here as well.
Planning, I don't know about.
No, very little planning.
You know what? So think about the I-90 surge. You can't just whip that up.
Yeah, but you can also tell how defeated Kyle was after the I-90 surge. He just wanted to go home and do nothing.
That's very true.
And there had to be stuff done.
And we drove across the country again after the I-90 surge.
Yep.
I heard about that.
Yeah, we're not talking about it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe by the time this podcast goes up.
Yeah, if you make your intro audio.
Gosh. I got so many videos that Timon's editing that I have to get him intros for. Like my new M5 review.
I think there's 5 total videos that just need, hey, how's it going? It's Kyle. This is what I'm driving. This is what I think of it real quick. Let's go. And
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now that you're here, maybe I should just do all that now. But the problem is I haven't seen the video. I forgot what I thought about the car.
So now that Timon is a full-time out of spec employee.
Well, he was previously.
I know. Again,
and then
I was going to say
now
again,
he's back. Yeah.
Right.
Timon's never really left.
I know. He's never really. But does that mean that I can call him at 7 a.m. my time?
Whoa.
Like I do with Jordan?
Sleep mode on.
Yeah, you do bug Jordan with technical help.
I know. He's so helpful. But and do you know how to tweet?
Yes. I know how to tweet.
Ooh, now I got another victim.
Maybe we should just give you access to tweet your own
No,
stuff.
I don't want that. I
Just keep Jordan on top of that.
Yeah, Jordan does all the out of spec stuff.
he's good at it, you know. I don't even have to tell him tweet anymore. I just send him the thumbnail picture and he knows what to do. So, yeah, but listen, great being out here again, Kyle. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we really didn't get more time with the Macan, and I know you were super busy this week. But,
Yeah, we didn't get to do anything with it.
Yeah. Well, Kyle wanted the trailer hitch on the car because he wanted to, do some testing with it. He said, I'll pay for it.
What's the towing capacity on that?
4,500 pounds, but I was going to put 5 on it because that's our...
Yeah, who cares? It's
Yeah,
fine.
500 pounds.
So it's probably better we don't. But he was going to pay for that feature, and then he was like, I got to have the roof. You have to have the roof rails. I'll pay for that. I was like, you know what? When I went over to Stuttgart and I saw a couple of Macans without the roof rails on them, especially the light-colored Macans, EVs, he was 100% right. That just from an aesthetic standpoint, you really need the roof rails. And then the towing hitch, we weren't able to he wasn't able to do what he was going to do. So,
we did no testing, by the way.
So he's not going to be having to write a check. So, but
Better for me.
It would have been more beneficial for us to make the money on the video and write you a check. But okay, all good. I just don't know why we got the car out here if we're not doing anything with it.
Well,
you've had 2 weeks to do what you...
I've had 1 week because the car had to go back in to get fixed after we got it because they scratched it in transport.
Oh, you're talking about the front lip?
Yes.
Okay.
So they fixed that.
Oh, man. Maybe now you're guilting me into staying
It's
here.
okay. I can borrow them from
if I
Porsche.
don't drive it home, when will the car hit our driveway? And how?
And Christmas.
Probably not too far away from that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'd
so
say
that-
Christmas because we have cars on rotation coming in and out. And
So this is what I'm afraid of. This is my opportunity. The weather's good.
To steal
I can
the
get
car.
the car home. I can have a happy wife, therefore a happy life.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that you want to do a towing test and a 70-mile-an-hour test, and hey, Mom, you'll be okay. And meanwhile, it'll be December 15th,
Yeah, that's probably the more
24th.
realistic date.
and she
No, it's
won't
probably
have her
December
car.
15th.
I'm definitely driving home tomorrow then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I can borrow them from Porsche. The problem with that is the dealer nor the press cars get spec'd with the aero wheels. So
we'll
I think
come
we just
steal those.
Yeah, maybe we can, like, we keep a set of aero wheels for Taycan in. Maybe we can just keep a set of aero wheels for Macan here, and that would solve all of our problems. So when Porsche sends us one to review, we can slap on the arrows, get the range test, do the normal wheels, and then we're good. And that's honestly the best solution. We do that with Lucid, we do that with Porsche and Tesla.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, it's more of a spec thing as to why we need your car versus a test car. Because
Right.
we spec'd it to do really well in our testing. The problem is the weather is not very conducive to testing right now.
Yeah.
And so, if we realistically, it's a Colorado winter, we should really get it back out here in the spring, and that would solve everything.
So one of the things, when I was looking at the app, I noticed that the car had 155 miles on it. And when I got in the car this morning, it said it had 111 miles on it. And what I was looking at was what the range was. So I've got to learn this, this app. And then Kyle said that he wouldn't even do the 70-mile-an-hour test. I offered to do it today. It would have been like this afternoon would have been perfect. But he said that he wouldn't even allow me to do that test until the car had 500 miles on it.
Yeah, got to get those braking miles.
Yep, tires need to be broken in, bearings, gearbox, single speed gearbox, but it still needs to break in.
Yeah, and I understand, and I get that. So it would have been just too much for me to drive, 400 miles and then...
Well, it would have been dark and cold by then.
Yeah, which wouldn't have been good.
No.
All right, so the car's going home tomorrow.
Yep, I think that's the right move. Just
That
take
is?
it back, and then we can always ship it here if we need for a good week. Which honestly, we probably will. We might have Danny bring you something out and then bring this here because we probably will need it for comparisons.
Bring me the Cybertruck.
All right, that dog barking means it's time to go.
Yep, we're going to get yelled at here.
Yeah, we are getting yelled at. Anyway, that's the first podcast at the Hub. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Dad, for joining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who knows if this will ever go live or not, but...
I can edit it. That's fine.
Oh, it doesn't need any editing.
There's no editing.
Well,
Post.
sure.
Dogs are going crazy.
All
See you
right.
all again.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.